And if it happened to me, it could happen to other kids.
Kidnapped by a sexual predator she met online. Tonight, the I-Team investigates the increasing number of cyber crimes victimizing young children.
Investigative reporter John Chrysos discovers a system struggling to stop it. But first, we do want to let you know some of the content in this report is graphic and may not be appropriate for young viewers.
Jen and Greg, this certainly is a difficult conversation to have. New numbers show reports of child sexual abuse imagery are growing exponentially, from about 3,000 reports 20 years ago to more than 18 million last year. Police in charge of fighting it are struggling to keep up.
There are still bad days. It's a journey.
For Alicia Kozakevich, part of that journey is talking about the horrible things that happened to her when she was only 13. She was groomed, lured, and abducted by an internet predator, Scott Tyree,
who kidnapped me and held me captive in his basement dungeon. And he was going to kill me.
Her disappearance setting off a massive 4-day nationwide search, while Tyree kept Alicia chained to the floor at his home in Virginia.
He had been live streaming what he was doing to me online, and I turned on the computer, and there I was on the screen with my hands bound above my head, crying, bleeding, begging, bruised.
In between the beatings and the raping, he will hang you by your arms.
In 2008, she testified in Congress in support of legislation intended to prevent cyber crimes against children and the increasing amount of photos and videos of child abuse.
Support the children. Save us from pedophiles, the pornographers, the monsters.
The bill passed in the House and the Senate, but since then the I-Team finds the problem has only gotten worse.
It's a lot easier for offenders to find kids. Technology is providing opportunity for offenders to save more content, share more content.
New research published by Google and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says the creation and distribution of child sexual abuse imagery is at a breaking point, exceeding the capabilities of law enforcement to take action.
These are children. These are babies who are being brutalized and tortured on film for other people to enjoy it.
Companies like Facebook, Google, Twitter, and Dropbox are legally required to report images of child sexual abuse on their platforms. Since Congress passed the PROTECT law in 2008, reports have increased exponentially from 100,000 a year to more than 18 million.
We're certainly seeing a drastic increase as well.
The Maine Computer Crimes Unit is one of 61 task forces nationwide trying to keep up.
I don't think most people have any idea of just how big a problem it is.
Numbers reviewed by the I-Team show last year this unit investigated 505 reports of child sexual abuse imagery. Already this year, about 900, making dozens of arrests, including a former top-ranking school official in Bangor and a Skowhegan babysitter, both accused of possessing sexually explicit material of children.
If we don't bring a case to fruition today, these children are still being victimized.
Despite a proliferation of abuse reports, federal funding for units like this one is flat. In fact, numbers we obtained from the Department of Justice show funding is consistently less than half of the $60 million a year authorized by the PROTECT law in 2008. And not having that money from DOJ puts task forces like yours in a pretty tough spot.
It certainly makes it tougher.
In a letter to the DOJ, the author of the 2008 law, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, wrote, "This program has been underfunded and undersupported due to the lack of prioritization from the DOJ, meaning it has failed to make preventing and rescuing children from internet crimes a priority."
We have to fund these task forces. This is happening. There are predators out there.
And we reached down to the DOJ for a response to that letter, but we didn't hear back.
John, so I think a lot of parents are now left wondering, with the funding not there and maybe it won't be for a little while, what can they do in the meantime?
And it's a really good question, Jen. The Maine legislature actually recently approved money to hire 4 more people in the Computer Crimes Unit.
And this story continues on Thursday at 6. You're going to expose the apps that the predators are using online now.
Yeah, you know, the advice used to be put the computer in a central place where you can keep an eye on it, maybe a place like the living room, but now most everyone and even kids are walking around with their own device. So we're going to talk about those apps for you coming up on Thursday.